When I think of change, I think there are two or three things that come to my mind. The first one is getting the basics right. How do we at scale, just given the size, large population that we have, at scale provide basics to our citizens so that they feel proud of their quality of life, they feel their fundamental rights have been respected. And I think the two main areas in those are how do you drive literacy and education and good health and infrastructure at scale. So that's kind of just getting the basics right. I would say the second one that probably comes to mind is how do you get ready for the future? And I would say getting skilled, everyone can be skilled, be ready to take on the challenges what the future digital economy poses in front of us. Actually the opportunity, not really the challenge. Because I think getting that piece would allow people to be a magnet for all different opportunities that the future is going to open to us. And I would say the third piece is empowerment. How do you empower the most common person in the country to use the skills and tap the opportunities? And that kind of leads to entrepreneurship, self-sustainability. It makes India even more attractive for investments. So I would say there are these two or three things that come to mind when I think about change and kind of the future of where India is headed. There is a lot of this would get enabled through the policy changes that the government is already doing, whether it's Make in India or Skill India, Digital India, all of these are enablers. But I think a lot that needs to ride on top of these enablers that creates the right multiplier effect is the participation of the corporate environment, the corporate world, the ecosystem, because this change needs to happen at a massive scale, and that cannot just happen through a top-down initiative. It needs to happen at the grassroots level, and it needs to sustain on its own like a flywheel effect. And I think the Leadership Council is a great initiative. I'm very honored to be part of that. It allows many different ideas and insights from people in different walks of life in different leadership positions to bring that to the table and see how they can use their experience to influence and tee up topics that could impact this massive change and drive innovation in that area. I think what the ILC can do is to help maybe bring its collective insights and ideas from prior experience, because a lot of folks as part of this committee would have experience with scale, would have experience with innovation, would have experience with different Indias. There are so many different kinds of problems that are relevant to different kinds of Indias that they can bring it together and hopefully maybe tee up the things that have the highest leverage. So things that have the highest impact, most meaningful needle movers, and tee it up and get collective alignment and some sort of momentum around it so that it can translate into action at a more grassroots level. I think probably one meta point would be how do we make sure that this change is pervasive, inclusive, impacts everyone. I think one risk is that we might perceive a significant change in a very small segment of this very diverse, vibrant country as a representative of the whole country changing in the right direction. So I think just having inclusive growth and inclusive change is extremely important. And I feel that digitization is probably a big lever to achieve that, because it's one of those things which really cuts across all these disparate income levels and social structures and cultures and other diversities as this country is blessed with, and it really gives a level playing field to everyone, no matter where they are placed along these dimensions. And it's very rarely you kind of get that opportunity that everyone is equal, everyone is connected, because the mobile phone gives you that connectivity. Everyone is empowered to make their innovation noticed. So the investment in a policy framework that takes advantage of this unique opportunity that we have, encouraging investments into this framework and focusing on empowering people to take advantage of this to drive inclusive growth is I think the biggest opportunity that India has, and that cuts across everything from payments to healthcare to e-commerce to logistics, and you name it. I think there's a lot of good perspective I could add in terms of just understanding what could help India, but at the same time bring learnings around customer obsession, innovation, and long-term orientedness. Three pillars that I feel are very unique to Amazon, that has helped Amazon drive a lot of change. So I feel that this mix of experience that I'm bringing probably would be present in every single leadership council member, that they could bring that experience and hopefully converge on something that would be very tangible, needle mover to get behind, and also identify a few mechanisms that would help us gain traction.